In this segment, we're going to discuss a few examples of some issues that are commonly faced with some of the tools and techniques that are commonly used for searches. Some of the most common techniques are based on single word searches or phrase searches, and those all have questionable results. Those can be unreliable. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. We never can quite be sure exactly what we're getting with some of the most well-known tools. And these are tools that most data companies that are on the market today are using. So let's take a look at a few examples here. So this is one of the well-known search engines, and I'm going to just do a quick search on So I even created a typo, which would be worse. So I enter the name of a book, for example, that I might be trying to search for. I check search. The search comes back and tells me no results found. But I'm suspicious that there is some results there. So what do I do next? Well, I can try to shorten this a bit and come back and let's see if that does anything. Well, still nothing. Then I can shorten it a bit more. And I can alter my search more. And now all of a sudden, the search finds things. And lo and behold, here, the very name that I typed in, we see was right here all the time. This is a classic example of how search engines have no logic to them and how they can fail. If we're trying to do a search on some particular type of data that we were looking for that would show efficacy of our products, if we were looking for a particular diagnosis that our medication should work for, or possibly even the name of our medication, and we were combing using many of the tools that are used by most of the data collection sources that are out there today, we wouldn't know what we're getting. These are the types of searches that they use. So again, we put in the name of the book. We just saw that example. It gave us no results. Now we shorten that search, we alter it, and lo and behold, we find the exact name of the book that we were searching for. So indeed, where it told us there was no results, there certainly was a result. In fact, there were 3 total results. So we can see that is a classic example of how some of the tools and some of the collection methods other data sources use today are extremely unreliable. And what does this do? This leads to what I keep referring back to as uncertainty of data. We really don't know what we're getting. We put in a name, maybe we'll get a result, maybe we won't. How would the search engine know to carry on? How would the search engine know to shorten it down? I did multiple iterations, as you saw in the demonstration here, and it took me shortening all the way down to the first name before we actually got a positive hit for what we were trying to find. This is the perfect example of how search engines based on a single word or word phrases, sometimes they'll get us results and sometimes they don't. How does that affect your data? What about if it was a case where your particular product got 100% results and it came back and said, we can't find any information on that? Certainty of data is critical, and many of the tools that most data collection sources are using today are extremely unreliable, so therefore the data that you're getting is unreliable. And an additional example using a different well-known search engine would be if a healthcare provider might have put some information in his chart note or medical record that was an abbreviation. So many providers may have the abbreviation MPJ. And if we put that in and enter, well, we come back with Michael Porter Jr., MPJ Twitter, MPJ definition, We come with all different sorts of results, when really the doctor didn't mean this. The doctor instead was actually referring to either a metatarsal phalangeal joint or a metacarpal phalangeal joint. So the search could come back and with all different sorts of wild matches that it supposedly found, and yet none of this is the actual data on the conditions that we were trying to find. So we can see how reliable is this data based on single word or phrase searches. So let's change this. Instead, let's say we wanted to look up the MTPJ. Let's see what that comes back with. Now we're much more on target for the metatarsal phalangeal joint. But how would a search engine or how would an AI know to automatically do that? So now we can come back and we find what we're looking for, talking about metatarsal phalangeal joints. The difference was this one letter, but many healthcare providers will simply put in the MPJ that we looked at. And again, it radically alters the results of our search. So therefore, data that might be extremely valuable to us to prove the safety and efficacy of a particular drug or medical device may be completely omitted because we simply were trying to search for a word or a phrase, and maybe it wasn't the exact match. We all know these examples. We've all done research on the internet, and we all have been frustrated looking for something. You put an entry, and you come back with 0 results, or you come back with completely unrelated results. Again, like our example for MPJ here. These results aren't anywhere near what we were wanting to see. So this happens very, very frequently with many of the tools that are out there that most other data sources use. Bringing us back to the question, how reliable is the data? Are you getting the data that really best represents how your products are really performing and helping our patients? Certainty of data, that's always a question mark. With other data sources, extreme question mark. With the Starwriter system, never a question. Starwriter resolves that issue